Okay, so we're going to figure out the pathway that blood takes through the heart, how it gets or where it gets the oxygen and where it drops off the carbon dioxide. So you should have the heart model glued into your journal. And there are numbers here. We're not really as concerned about those numbers. We're not labeling everything specifically in the same places that they numbered them. Our numbers are going to be where the blood starts and ends. But since it's a circle or a circuit, there is no beginning and no end to a circle. So we're just randomly picking a point. And the point that I'm going to pick is where the deoxygenated blood comes from the body. So on here, you're going to write from body. And this is going to be our number 1. And this is called the superior, meaning above, right? If you get a superior grade, that means above average, right? Superior vena cava. That is where deoxygenated blood comes from the body into the heart. Now there's also, number 1, there is an inferior, which means below, right? If you get an inferior grade, that's below what it should be. There's an inferior vena cava. These are both veins. And that comes from the body with high carbon dioxide, low oxygen, into the heart. Now the chamber of the heart that it first enters, we're going to put number 2. So here we start with 1 coming into the heart from the body. 2 is the right atrium. And these 2 little flaps close to hold the blood in, and then when it pumps, they open to let the blood flow through. So that is actually called the tricuspid valve. Okay, don't worry about the number. Tricuspid valve. And then, so it goes from here to here. We're going to say this is number 3. Location is the right ventricle. And then it goes through this area, which is called the pulmonic valve. Pulmo means lung. So as it leaves the ventricle, it goes through this valve. Remember, valves keep the blood from flowing backwards. It's going to go to number 4, which is pulmonary artery. Arteries take blood away from the heart, and they usually are full of oxygenated blood. But in this case, this is the left pulmonary artery, and this one is the right pulmonary artery. These actually have deoxygenated blood. Now, they're going to the lungs, okay? And so we don't have the lungs on here, so we're just going to kind of draw. Maybe it kind of looks like that, and it looks like this. Not a great drawing, but it'll work. This is the left lung. We're going to put number 5. Number 5, this is the right lung. They actually look very similar but not identical. Realize these lungs are actually behind the heart. So these are not to scale. Not to scale. Lungs are larger than heart. Okay, so these are drawn smaller just so we can fit them into the diagram. Okay, what happens in the lung is that you get rid of CO2, which is a waste product, and you pick up or get O2. All right, so that's what's happening in each of these lungs. Your blood is being oxygenated and then it comes back from the lungs. So we'll put, these are pulmonary veins. There's two over here and there's two over here, pulmonary veins. And this is going to be number 6, number 6, number 6. Remember, these numbers are the pathway, the 6th place. Okay, so from the lungs it goes through the pulmonary veins. These come into number 7 location is the left atrium. This blood now is full of oxygen, so on a color diagram it would be colored red. All right, so it goes from the left atrium through this little flap, which is the mitral valve, and into number 8, which is the left ventricle. This valve leaving the left ventricle is called the aortic valve. When it leaves the aortic valve, it's going to go kind of behind this and over to here. This is your aorta, which is an artery. It's the largest artery you have. We'll say this is number 9. The aorta also is down here, number 9. Aorta. Your aorta is sending this blood to body cells full of oxygen, okay? So this is going to body. This little arch is called the aortic arch. And the blood is going out of each one of those. It goes to the cells. They've used up their oxygen, so they get more oxygen. They give the carbon dioxide to the blood cells, and then it comes back to here and starts all over again. Now, we're going to color code this using blue to represent deoxygenated blood. Although we know that that means it is high in CO2, it is low in O2, and we know that it's red, but for our diagram we're going to use blue because that's what everybody uses. So here is our blue arrow that shows deoxygenated blood coming into the right atrium, through the tricuspid valve into the left ventricle, through the pulmonary valve, through the pulmonary artery, into the lung on the left, into the lung on the right. At this point, the cells drop off the CO2 and they pick up oxygen and they come back into the pulmonary veins full of oxygen, into the left atrium, through the mitral valve, into the left ventricle, through the aortic valve, into the aorta. And this goes to the upper body, bringing oxygenated blood. This goes to the lower body, bringing oxygenated blood. I forgot to add our key. This is oxygenated blood, which is high in O2 and low in CO2. All right.